Today, we are gonna take a quiz to find out how Charlotte Mason we are. That's right. So get out your paper and pen and let's get quizzing. This is a collaboration with my dear, I call her my YouTube bestie, Ashley over at Joyful Noise Learning. She is gonna share with you how Charlotte Mason she is as well, and she knows a lot about the Charlotte Mason style. So make sure you get over to her channel and check out after you watch this video. I'll stick a link in the description box below. Also at this end of this video, I'm gonna share with you why Charlotte Mason scared me in the beginning and how I'm learning to, be okay with that fear. Yeah, Charlotte Mason scared me when I first started homeschooling. Still scares me. I'll tell you why. Just after the quiz. Let's do the quiz first, because that's fun. All right, here's the point value. If you mark A for anything, that's 3 points. You mark B for anything, 2 points. You mark C, 1 point, and D, 0 points. Okay, number 1. How often do you read out loud to your kids? A, multiple times a week. B, every day at least once. C, a few times a week. D, rarely or never. So I am gonna mark down B because I do. Every day, at least once. We do it at least once every day. Sometimes multiple, but let's just be honest, I don't do it multiple times every single day. You see, reading books is huge with the Charlotte Mason philosophy. Living books specifically, and living books are books that just basically, they're just beautifully well written. There's rich vocabulary, they have a good storyline, they're thick, rich description, just beautiful, okay? Beautiful books. An example of a living book, Chronicles of Narnia is a living book. Captain Underpants, not a living book. Lord of the Rings, living book. Heidi, living book. Jedi Academy, not a living book. Alice in Wonderland, living book. Dogman, not a living book. Did you get the point? Now, a lot of subjects are also taught with living books instead of a dry textbook. So for example, we use a curriculum called Truth Quest, where they just basically give us a quick little synopsis and a title, and then just a book list. And we can pick from any of those books. The point is that we're reading from the books and learning history from the source, books. Books. All right, the next question is, what books have you read, will read, or would like to read with your kids? Multiple answers accepted. So, if you answer multiple ones, just add up your points, okay? So number 1, A, Little House series. B, Aesop's Fables. C, Who Was series. And D, Fly Guy. Now, I'm gonna be honest, we've done Aesop's Fables, definitely. And we've also done Who Was series. We read the first Little House book and then half of the second, and I personally just did not like that series. I couldn't get into it, maybe because I didn't have a girl reading it with me, I don't know. But people say boys get into it too, I don't know. I don't know if that counts. Should I give myself a point for that? I mean, we did read the first one, so I guess I should. And we've read Fly Guy, but that's 0 points anyway, so. I do want to mention Charlotte Mason calls books like Fly Guy twaddle, which basically means there's really not much substance there, and so we shouldn't really waste our minds reading books like that with no substance. Now, there's a lot of different philosophies on that. Like, some people feel like those kind of books that are quote-unquote twaddle can really help motivate a reader because it's fun. Some of these books are kind of just fun to read. Other people are very strict and say, nope, no twaddle, we're not reading it, get to the real books. And some people do like half and half. I think we're more like half and half. Number 3. When you consider subjects taught in your home, what do they include? A, discipline, good habits, attitude, and basically B, C, D, the rest of them that are listed below them. B, nature studies, living books, narratives, and CD. C, art, music, biographies, and D. D, language arts, math, history, and science, which are your basic ones. Which one do you consider a subject taught in your home? And I'm just gonna be honest with myself, I'm gonna have to put D. Oh no, not D. I'm gonna put B. Because as much as I use discipline, good habits, and attitudes, I'm just gonna talk about that later in the video. So keep watching, because maybe you have this feeling too, the intimidation factor, So I'm gonna put down B, which gives me 2 points. All right, next one. Do you teach from the Bible or other holy book? So Charlotte Mason was a Christian, and that's pretty well known. And so she basically, her Bible was kind of like the core book, so to speak. She also emphasized teaching from the Bible as a textbook. The virtues, spelling, handwriting, all that kind of stuff from the Bible. Now here's the fun question. Can a non-Christian be quote unquote Charlotte Mason? Well, yes, technically, yes, of course. So for example, if someone who is Muslim wants to use the Quran as something that is like the center of their education, that is very Charlotte Mason philosophy-esque. So, do you teach from the Bible or other holy book? A, yes, we also teach spelling, writing, reading from it. B, once a day, we have the kids tell me what they learned and on occasion copy work. C, we do Bible studies. And D, rarely or never. So I am totally a B, at least once a day, maybe multiple times a day, but I'll admit we don't do spelling or writing or reading from it, this book. This is just a classic example of teaching from the Bible as a textbook, and a lot of people do that. It just makes life easier, to be honest. I have not done that. I've tried, but it's a lot of work. I feel like it's a lot of work. For me it is, but it's a beautiful way to teach. It also, when you're teaching, vocabulary and spelling from the Bible, from a book that you're reading, you're actually learning it within the context. So I guess educational wise, it's gonna help a lot with retention, memory. Maybe I should consider doing that. How many hours do you educate a day? A, my home is an atmosphere of education. B, 1 to 3 hours of core subjects. Then we spend the day enjoying books and nature. C, 4 hours a day plus reading together. 2 to 10 hours is D. I'm gonna go with B. I'm just B or C. That's, I kind of feel like I'm B or C. I'm in the middle there. Do I do like a half a point? But I don't feel like that would do anything for my point system here. I'm just gonna go with that and just pick a point system there. All right, moving on. Do you go outside? A, yes. We even have a journal and a shelf of shells, leaves, rocks, and dried flowers. B, we love going on nature walks and looking at all of God's beautiful creation. We do this once a week. C, my kids play sports or go to playgrounds once in a while. D, rarely or never. So I'm gonna go with B. That's mine, okay? So Charlotte Mason, the philosophy, she really emphasizes going outside, enjoying nature walks. She also encourages journaling, interacting, just basically learning about God's creation firsthand. And that just doesn't, I think that expands itself out to, field trips, okay? Like museums and such, that you're getting hands-on the natural realm, so to speak. The natural realm, that sounds so, I don't know. Let's just say, like, if you go to a museum and there's physics in action, that is part of God's creation and you're interacting with it. So I would consider field trips very Charlotte Mason-esque, so to speak, but really she does like being outside and journaling and looking at butterflies and bugs and playing with worms and digging holes and collecting rocks and comparing leaves and drawing pictures of trees and that kind of stuff. That's the thing, drawing pictures with trees. So there's this idea that you draw a picture of that same tree once a week and compare it through the seasons. That's really a fun activity to do with your kids. Next question, do you use books written before the 1950s? A, yes, we love to look for first editions, out of print and online sources. B, on occasion we may use some older, well-written books. C, does Narnia count? Question mark. D, never. It's way too hard to understand. And I totally get the way too hard to understand. So this idea is that books before the 1950s are very, very rich. Very, very rich in vocabulary. It has that, possibly some Old English. And some of that stuff is really hard to find because whether it be politics or other things, so to speak, they're hard to find. And a lot of people who love Charlotte Mason love digging for those older books. Now, me, some of those books are pretty hard to understand, but I do love digging into some of those older books that really infiltrate the Christian mindset, biblical worldview. So I'm gonna give myself, for this one, I'm gonna say on occasion we may use some older, well-written books. I'm gonna go with that one. Do you use any of these curriculums? Now, this is not a complete list of curriculum, and so if there's a curriculum similar to one of these, okay, yeah, it counts. So, A, Ambleside, Simply Charlotte Mason, A Gentle Feast, or Truth Quiz, something similar to that. B, My Father's World, Cottage Press, Five in a Row, or Heart of Dakota. C, The Good and the Beautiful, or Master Books. D, Becca, Bob Jones, or Evan Moore. And 5 points if you use the Bible and only books. So you get a little extra points if you don't use a curriculum and just teach strictly from living books, period. That's not me. unfortunately. I wish I could do that. See, I do. I admire people who do that. So I'm gonna say, see, I do a little bit of A and a little bit of B. So I'm just gonna pick the one that I think is gonna fit me best. Or just kind of do the half and then that other half will balance. I could do that. That's my answer. I'm gonna go with that. Next question. When you teach spelling and handwriting, what do you use? A, I use the Bible or another real book for both subjects. B, I use a Charlotte Mason inspired curriculum to teach these subjects. The curriculum includes passages. C, all of my spelling is from a word list or curriculum, and I have my kids copy passages for handwriting. And D, I use curriculum or word list. I'm a C. I'm just gonna be honest, I do C. So there's that. Not very Charlotte Mason-esque. So the next question says, which quote fits your homeschooling environment? The child is a person and we must educate that whole person, not just his mind. B, homeschooling should include God-centric curriculum mirroring the Greco-Roman classical approach of grammar, logic, and rhetoric. C, if the emotions are free, the intellect will look after itself. And D, homeschool should be school at home, books and textbooks. Yeah, I'm gonna go with A because I really like that philosophy. I try to make that fit. Now, let me just quickly run down when you're looking at those different quotes. I can just tell you where they're from really quick. The first one is a flat out Charlotte Mason quote. The child is a person and we must educate the whole person, not just his mind. Total 100% quote straight from the mouth of the Charlotte herself. And B, homeschooling should include God-centric curriculum mirroring the Greco-Roman classical approach of grammar, logic, and rhetoric. That is actually the philosophy from My Father's World. My Father's World is a Charlotte Mason-inspired curriculum, but they also include some elements of classical education as well, some traditional, some unit study as well. If the emotions are free, the intellect will look after itself. That is 100% unschooling. I do not know who that quote is from, sorry guys, but that is unschooling. If the emotions are free, the intellect will look after itself. And the last one, homeschool should be school at home, books and textbooks. I think that's just a common, traditional school phrase. Oh, that was the last question. That was totally the last question. And I think there were a total of 10. So right now, just add up your points. And I got 22. Let me know what you got in the comments down below and how Charlotte Mason you actually are. Now let's see our little telling us what we are. Ooh, if we're 26 points or higher, Charlotte Mason in disguise. I think that's pretty straightforward. Might as well call you Mrs. Mason. That might be awkward. All right, 25 to 18 points. You are Charlotte Mason inspired. Now see, that's where I fall. I'm not too Charlotte Mason, but I got a lot of her little elements within our homeschool day. 17 through 6, Charlotte Mason is a distant friend. And 6 through 0, not a Charlotte Mason fan. So let me know what you guys got in the comments down below. But now I want to, first of all, congratulate you for taking this really fun quiz. Let me know how fun it is because I actually would have a fun time doing each of the homeschool styles with this same let me know in the comments down below. Now I'm going to talk to you about why Charlotte Mason in the very beginning was quite intimidating for me and still is a little bit today. So I came out of the public school, jumped in both feet with the whole homeschooling thing. And the most appealing philosophy to me was Charlotte Mason. I thought it was beautiful. Everything about it just seemed so freeing and wonderful, and it was amazing and relieving. But see, I didn't understand the ins and outs of her philosophy, which is totally different than traditional school. So me being who I am, I jumped in with both feet with Charlotte Mason. I bought curriculum from Simply Charlotte Mason. I got the book Laying Down the Rails. I even got those thick Charlotte Mason books. I don't know if you've ever seen them. It's in Old English, really hard to understand. I made it through half a chapter and donated them because there was no way I was going to read them. Now, I started with the Laying Down the Rails curriculum, which is actually a really, really good curriculum. But it's not your traditional language arts. It's character building is what it is. And it's a beautiful, beautiful curriculum. Here's the table of contents. I don't know if you can see it. But as you can see, it's not math, it's not language arts, it's not really anything. It's flat out character building, okay? You know, this is an example of one of them because I got it on PDF. I mean, this is old. This is notes for me. I mean, writing stuff down because I'm trying to figure out what the heck is this? It was like foreign to me. But it made me feel incapable of teaching this because I myself, I mean, obedience, like seriously, obedience is huge, but how obedient am I? Like really? And I'm not perfect. You know, another one that totally overwhelmed me was attention. Okay, I have ADHD. I can't keep attention for 10 minutes straight without getting distracted by something. I'm totally that squirrel lady, okay? Unless I'm doing the talking. If I'm talking, we're good. But I go on bunny trails. That's why editing is so beautiful. But attention, I'm supposed to teach my kids how to keep attention. You know, another one is truthfulness. Okay, this one I'm not too bad at. But self-control. Self-control. I have self-control, but when my kids do something wrong, can I use self-control to not be angry at them all the time? That's a hard one. And it was this idea of I have to model these things and teach my kids these things. And I mean, it was so scary for me to think that how can I teach my kids and punish my kids for being disobedient when I myself may come across as disobedient in another area of my life. It's hypocritical. Like it was a real hard struggle for me. And I'm not perfect. I felt like in order to be a teacher with that Charlotte Mason philosophy, I needed to be this perfect, prim, proper lady that did no wrong, that was very innocent, very Christian-like, and just perfect. And my kids walk around with long dresses, picking daisies out of the field and giving them to their parents because, you know, they love them so much. I'm not that. And what I've come to terms with lately, and it has been a journey, even though I'm not perfect, I can still teach these things because you know what? In the end, none of us is perfect. None of us are perfect. No, except for our Messiah, Jesus. And I think Charlotte Mason recognized that, but somehow I didn't pick up on that. I'm going to try this character building study again. I will. Embracing the fact that I'm not perfect even more will allow me to go deeper into this Charlotte Mason philosophy where it is training the whole child. I'm learning alongside with them. I can always do better in every single one of those areas. And I need to be transparent with my kids too, because if I fall short, it's okay because I'm not perfect. I don't want them to turn to me and look at me as some idol. I need to be like my mother who's also heavenly and perfect and angelic, but that's not who I want them finding their identity in. I want them to find their identity in their Messiah. And like I said, I think that's what Charlotte Mason, I think that's what she intended. So, you know, as I thought about this collab with Ashley, I thought about how much I do love the Charlotte Mason philosophy and how I've been scared of it because I just didn't feel like I was good enough to teach it. But instead, I should embrace that. I think I'm going to do things a little, maybe slowly add more Charlotte Mason sprinkled through a curriculum. Kind of already have been doing that. I think that's a good thing. I think I'm more Charlotte Mason than I think. Even though I only made 22 points, which means I'm Charlotte Mason inspired. Maybe next year I'll be a 26. But does a quiz really matter in the long run? No, because our identity is not found in a quiz. So I hope you like this video. Let me know if you guys want me to do another how unschooling am I, how traditional am I, how unit study am I. I'm kind of unit study too. And make sure you check out Ashley's channel because she's been doing Charlotte Mason for a while and she's very, very knowledgeable when it comes to, you know, Charlotte Mason thought process, philosophies, curriculum that's out there, some cute little activities that you can do that Charlotte Mason inspired, all that fun stuff. So make sure to check it out. I can't wait to check it out. It's gonna be pretty cool. So until then, I'm gonna leave some videos on my face. This week, if you haven't gotten a chance, I am vlogging a lot this month. So if you subscribe now and check out my videos this week, you're gonna see some fun little vloggies. And until then, I'm gonna see you guys in my next video, hopefully. And bye!